Hello, everybody, and it's Patty and Michelle here this evening, and we wanted to talk to you a little bit about our PFDD that's coming up here very shortly. Can't believe like the whole year has gone by, and here we are just about 30 days out where we're going to be getting started on our externally led PFDD. And I will have to say, Michelle has put in so much work getting this thing ready along with Katie and all of our panelists. We're really excited. Tonight, we wanted to talk to you about a few Q&A things just to get everybody prepped and ready. And really, truly, it is all hands on deck. We need you, whether you can come in person because you're local or whether you can be online. Or if that doesn't work, although we hope it does work, if that doesn't work, we can start taking comments now, and Michelle will talk a little bit about that as we go through. So what we're going to do is do this kind of like a little Q&A, a little chat to, I'll ask her some questions and she'll talk about it since she's the expert in this. So Michelle, share with us a little bit about why we even started this journey a year ago.
Thanks, Patty. We began this journey first and foremost because HypoPARA lacks an FDA-approved treatment. And what we quickly realized along the way, though, was how much misinformation and misunderstanding there still exists about our condition, beginning with the misnomer that this disease is just about low calcium. This disease is so much more than that. It is the lack of PTH hormone or sufficient PTH hormone. So until you address the underlying PTH problem, you're never going to solve all the symptoms of this disease. Low calcium is just one symptom of a broader disease. And as soon as we realized that, we knew our community would benefit from this meeting because this meeting gives us the opportunity to present more information about the symptoms and the effects on our daily lives. And it brings about public awareness to the disease. And it ensures that the perspectives of all of the patients are represented. Whether you be genetic or autoimmune or post-surgical, we have a variety of patients that we've chosen as panelists, and we wanted to make sure that our ultimate goal is to bring this process to light, but bring about more meaningful research for the long term of this disease and what, not just the treatments, but what does the long-term outlook look like for our disease? I hope that helps.
Absolutely. Yep, very good. And you talked about the patients and the panelists, and that's an important point because while we're going to have some of our pharmas there, we're going to have some of our medical providers there, we're going to have a lot of people online really excited to watch this. This is all about the patients.
Absolutely.
And like you said, we have, you've done a really nice job picking out the panelists to make sure that we had a dozen people that are going to be able to share their stories. So talk to us a little bit about how did you choose the panelists and where we currently are with the panelists?
Okay, so we initially asked people to go to our website and submit their written story. We had well over 25, I think maybe closer to 30 submissions. And from there, we read through each one, some of them several times, and we had to narrow it down. And so what we decided to do was kind of start out by saying we wanted to get at least one of every type of hypoparathyroidism. That meant one autoimmune, one idiopathic, one genetic, one post-surgical. And not only did we manage to do that, we actually managed to get someone with a autoimmune syndrome that is multiglandular. And so we've gotten multi-genetic patients, which we're really excited about. So we're going to get the perspectives of a lot of different types of panelists. We also wanted to hit upon getting different age groups because the average age supposedly of a hypopara patient is over the age of 40. But we wanted to make sure that we also hit upon the pediatric population, those going through, the early parts of life, childbearing, those types of things. So we looked for, those were the secondary things we started to look for. So
absolutely, very good. All right, and then we get to have two of our own medical advisors speaking. So you have Dr. Manstadt and Dr. Rubin speaking. And then we also have a supporter from the FDA who is an endocrinologist. So she's going to be opening the whole thing for us. So it'll be nice to hear from them. But that'll be the only medical people. Again, this is all about us as patients. And we'll be looking forward to hearing not just from our panelists, but also from our audience that's participating. So thinking about people that are participating, let's say somebody is local and they're able to drive in for the day or however they choose to get there. Talk a little bit about what it might be like if they were local and they actually came in person.
Well, first of all, if you're local and you're listening, we would love to have you.
Absolutely.
Please make the effort to come out. The event starts at 10 a.m. that day and goes till about 3 p.m. And so if you were local, we are going to have you seated kind of classroom style. So you will have a table, but you'll be mixed in amongst FDA personnel that'll be there, researchers, industry partners from pharma companies. A few clinicians have signed up to come already. So you'll get to kind of see the different perspectives in the room. But most importantly, because as Patty said, this meeting is about the patient, for the patient, and by the patients. You will, if you're in the room, have an opportunity to have your voice heard in a very real way. During the facilitated discussion section of the meeting, and there will be 2 of those sections, you can raise your hand if you're there live and in person and respond to one of the questions or make a comment about another response that you heard. So your voice could be heard in a very real way, because those perspectives that come in the room that day will definitely be part of our Voice of the Patient report, which you will hear more about later.
Absolutely. And caregivers too, right? So
Oh yes, definitely caregivers. It doesn't have to be just patients, because some of you, it's a very real perspective how it has affected the whole family.
Absolutely. So we'll encourage their participation as well. Now, what if somebody is too far away, or they can't travel in, or they can't get off work? Share a little bit about people that can't be in the room.
Okay, so we are going to be live streaming this event. The live stream link will be available on the website the day of. It will not go live until the day of, but it's on the event page, which is www.hypopara.org/EL-PFDD. And that will be listed on the page. Just go to our website, go to the event page, and you'll see that. And there will be the live stream. But if you are going to be joining us by live stream, don't think you won't have the opportunity to participate. You will. It'll be in a little bit different fashion. We will not have the capability to have you speak out loud via the live stream, but there will be a special chat function, and you can put your comments and questions and things in that chat, and it will be monitored by me. And as opportunity comes up, we will use some of those comments in that section to fill in some gaps. And some of those will also, if we can't get into them live, they will be included in the Voice of the Patient report.
Very good. And then, so what are some of the things that are going to happen as a result of us as a community doing the EL-PFDD?
So first and foremost, a Voice of the Patient report will be written. And it'll be utilizing all of the information, like I said, of what's going on live in the room that day. Comments from the website, so we will include as many of those as we possibly can. We will, though, be increasing public awareness. This meeting has already helped in a great way to connect more patients with each other. We've connected some pediatric patients who didn't know any other pediatric patients. So there's great opportunity in that way to get to know more of your fellow hypopara patients, and maybe some of the stories you hear will resonate with you. And you'll hear from other patients about things like your mental health. It's going to help with advocacy, because the more awareness that we bring to our situation will help us advocate for each other better. And I think that's all I can think of right now. Sorry.
Okay, very good. That's okay. So Michelle, you did a specific web page that you had mentioned earlier, but talk to us a little bit about like if somebody, it's live now. So what if somebody went on there now and maybe did their comments or their story? What will happen with that?
So, yes, right now our PFDD web page or event page is up, and we have a live comment section on there. So there is some questions, I think 6 or 7 different questions listed on the event page. And then there's a comment box below where you can put your identifying information and comments to those specific questions. We just ask that you reference which question you're answering. Uh, and then those comments, we are reading through all of them, as well as we are turning all of those over to our scientific writer. And our scientific writer will use those as appropriate in the voice of the patient report.
Okay. And so the scientific writer, talk a little bit more about that. Like, what does that mean? Are they going to take everything, or can you share a little bit more about the scientific writer?
Yeah, so the scientific writer is going to help us organize the information in a way that is not only relatable and readable to the patients, but more importantly, relatable to researchers, clinicians, because some clinicians, if they want to find out more about a disease process that maybe they didn't learn enough about in school, we all know some of our endos haven't, they can refer back to this article because it will be published on the FDA website and possibly in some other journals. So they will take it and organize it in a way that they know that clinicians and researchers and pharma companies are looking for so that they can word search for the types of things they are looking for.
Absolutely. Very good. Okay. And I know the FDA has been working with us for about 9 months in preparation. We've had all kinds of meetings and some really great coaching that's happening. And I'm going to be moderating the event now. So I'm excited and probably a little team get nervous about that as well. But let's talk a little bit about if we kind of go outside the lines, like what would you expect if somebody starts to share and talks about things that are outside the line? What types of things might they talk about that would be like probably not appropriate for this meeting, but maybe another meeting?
Okay. Yeah, so first and foremost, this meeting is, like we said before, about the patients and the caregivers and their journeys. And as part of those journeys, what do they need in a future treatment? What it is not about. It is not about any specific drug. Although it will be okay for our panelists to talk about drugs that they are on, or whether that be a clinical trial drug or a drug they've been on in the past, it is not about a specific drug. We're not there promoting any specific drug. It is also not about insurance. Although we all know that's an important piece of the puzzle, whether or not we can afford this medication, whether or not our insurance is going to approve it, how many steps we're going to have to take to get it approved. Unfortunately, the FDA has nothing to do with approval of whether or not insurance has approved things. That's a whole different federal agency, and they really have nothing to do about that. So they really don't want us wasting time at this meeting talking about insurance or how expensive a medication is going to be. And then the other thing that the FDA doesn't want to hear anything about is they don't want to be told how to design their clinical trials. They do have forums for that. They actually have a really big one running right now that you can get information about on our website or their website, where they are asking for patients' perspectives on clinical trial design. But this particular forum is not the place to tell them how to redesign a trial specifically for hypoparathyroidism.
Right. They just want to hear from us, no matter what, if we're post-surgical, idiopathic, whatever, genetic, however we have hypoparathyroidism, they just want to hear what our daily life is like, what our struggles are like, what our pill burden is like, what our just life is like. So that it's really the patient voice, the caregiver's voice in this. to be able to understand, because they can get all their facts and all that stuff from all the data they collect. This is true heart and soul of what it's like to live with this. So, Michelle, anything else you want to share about the EL-PFDD as we get prepared for it and get our community prepared? Because again, it's all hands on deck, guys. We need you, really, really need you to participate in this. So anything else you want to share?
So I just want to say that the FDA has made it very clear that just because we're not talking about a specific treatment or whether or not something is going to get it approved, that doesn't mean that our perspectives are not important. They're very important because it does help them when they hear the patient perspective about maybe they did not realize that these are the most important symptoms we need to get treated. So they want to make sure as they read through a drug when it comes to them for approval, they want to make sure that not only is the drug safe and effective, but it's meeting the needs that the patients are looking for. So if we're looking to get rid of seizures or fatigue or whatever it is that we're looking for as a community, what are our most important symptoms, that drug is meeting those needs. And that's important to them because just because it's safe doesn't mean that it's going to lead us to an almost cure-like state. So I think that's important for patients to remember.
Absolutely. And on our current web page, you mentioned having questions and discussion topics. Are all of the questions and discussion topics that we will have that day on there, or is there just a sampling of them?
That is a sampling of them because, of course, we want to, get some feedback from you guys. And by the way, those questions and comments that are on the webpage now will stay up for 1 month after the meeting is over. But we want to make sure that those that participate on the day of, whether it be virtually or in person, there is some more gritty detail questions that we will try to answer that day or get feedback on. And there will be some polling questions as well as the facilitated discussion led by Patty.
Ooh, I'm glad you brought up the polling because that's going to be really, really important. That data will go into our Voices of Patient report as well. And it talks about symptoms and where we live and different things all about us. So please, please, please make sure to be available to do the polling that happens with that. And then let's see. So if you are going to attend in person, we are going to host a nice lunch for you. So we certainly would love to know if you're going to be attending. Michelle, how are we going to determine that? Is that just through sign up?
There is a registration button currently on the website, on the event page. There is all the information you should need. There's how to get a hotel room if you're going to stay overnight the night before or the day after. And there is a registration button, and it asks whether you're a patient, caregiver, pharmacy, industry, whomever. So if you could just register, and then it'll ask you once you do that whether you're going to be in person or virtual. There is no cost either way. And please spread the word because we'd love to hear from, not like we said before, not just the patients, but some of the caregivers. And also, this may be a great way because we have some really compelling stories that these panelists are going to tell. If you have a family member that doesn't understand your disease, invite them to watch this because maybe this will help them understand that it's not just you and that there are others like you out there and how serious this disease is.
Absolutely. As we've been practicing, my husband's been here. He walks by and hears, and he's like, "Oh my goodness!" Just hearing the different stories from people, because we only live what we live, but hearing all the other people and the different ways that they experience it every day is definitely. It will definitely help the FDA in making decisions and things like that. So we're excited about this major milestone for the organization, for our community. So we do hope that you all join us, whether you can be there in person, whether you can be there virtually. We really look forward to having you be a participant in this. So thank you, everybody, and we will see you soon. Bye.